What's going on, everybody? How we doing on this beautiful Friday? It's a snow day for your boy, Octagon Jordan. So I've been home here just looking over the UFC pay-per-view card, analyzing the odds, who I think the best picks are. So, yeah.
Finish what you want, fight.
Oh, who's that?
Because when you fight, I'm asleep, everybody sleep. Don't sleep, everybody sleep.
So much time, but guess what?
Everybody's sleeping. When you fight, I can't watch one fucking fight. Everybody sleep. You're not UFC level. You're not UFC level. Oh, we had some good tidbits out of that press conference, huh? Why are you cutting it short, Dana? Why are you cutting it short? What are you doing? What are you doing? Bueno Silva and Pennington. Wow, we got a little life out of these women. We got a pulse. We got a storyline. UFC can, play a couple video packages. What do you not? Everybody sleep. Everybody's sleeping. Got me amped up. So this pay-per-view, it's weak on paper, but there's some big personalities. There's some interesting storylines, some close fights, some pick'em fights. So let's get right into it. I've been analyzing the card. I think I got some money fucking picks for you dirty bastards out there, you degenerates. So let's do it. It's going to be a conflicting night for you, boy. Obviously, my Green Bay Packers are playing against the 49ers, our arch rival. So UFC pay-per-view, I think, starts at 7, main card at 10. And I have to have the dual screens going, which isn't like me. Normally I sit there from the first fight all the way to the last fight at 1 a.m. But, it's going to be a wild night for you boys. So tune into the show on Sunday, and should be an interesting podcast on Sunday as well. But let's get right into it here. Let's see what we got. First fight of the night, we got Malcolm Gordon versus Jimmy Flick. Wow. Could they have picked a worse scrap to open the card? Holy shit. Jimmy Flick. So this guy was on Dana White's Contender Series, won his fight via grappling, had no striking, then retired for some weird reason. His dad, or he saw a sign that he had to retire. And then he came back since and immediately lost 2 UFC fights by KO. Not sure how this motherfucker's still in the UFC. Jimmy Flick me. Against Malcolm X Gordon. This guy's also a scrub ass. Malcolm Gordon blows. I think he's lost to pretty much everybody. I think he has 1 or 2 wins in the UFC, 3 or 4 losses. I know he had that big suplex against, who was it? Makayev. He had a big suplex against Makayev, so that gave me pause. I was like, Makayev's obviously a better grappler than Jimmy Flick, obviously stronger, better fighter. So if Gordon can hold his own in the grappling with Makayev, even suplex him, make a couple of rounds close, definitely got to go Gordon. But he's had some weird things happen to him as well. So I would stay away from this fight. Honestly, wouldn't even pick this fight. The odds aren't good for either guy. Most likely Malcolm Gordon's going to win, but at minus 215, it just really doesn't make sense. Jimmy Flick can do some weird jiu-jitsu nonsense. So I'd stay away from it, but I'm confident Malcolm Gordon's gonna pull that one off. So yeah, definitely.
Finish what you want, fight. Because when you fight,
you're not UFC level. You're not doing. Everybody sleep. Everybody.
So much time, but guess what?
All right, next fight: Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Priscilla Cachoeira. Jasmine Jasudavicius. Definitely pick her 100%. Don't like her odds at minus 385, but she's gonna dominate this fight. Yeah. She's stronger, better grappling. The only way I see her losing is if she gets hit with a shot, gets caught, gets chinned. Cachoeira, I don't know. Maybe she wins by eye gouge. Ref doesn't see it. Gouges the eyes when Jasudavicius is going for a rear naked choke. She gets on top, elbows, TKO win for Cachoeira. But that's the only way I see her winning. So next fight. Johan Linez versus Sam Patterson. Ooh. Good fight. 2 scrubs here. That's why the odds are so close in this one. Johan Linez, I remember him getting, arm triangle by my boy Mike Malott. Mike Malott, the boys are hot.
Tonight, this show is for us.
Oh,
this was a Canadian show. This was Canadian MMA.
Yeah, that's right, Johan. Canadian MMA, bitch. Facing Sam Patterson. Don't know much about Sam Patterson other than he got brutally chinned in his last fight. I mean, that was a scary knockout. That guy was bleeding, looking up at the ceiling like this. So, not sure I can pick him, but Johan Linez hasn't really showed me much either. You're getting Patterson at plus 120. I think it's a pick 'em fight. I would go Patterson unless he gets chinned. But I think it's a good underdog take there. So, yeah, roll with Patterson on that one. Jillian Roberson versus Pauliana Viana. I like both of these women. Jillian Roberson, I actually like her. I know there's a lot of slander for her on, MMA Twitter, MMA media. I like her. I think she has a good game. Obviously, the striking leaves some to be desired, but really good grappler and has just shown a good amount in her fights. Obviously, she loses to top competition, but she always beats the lower level competition. So she's kind of one of those gatekeepers. Neil Magny, esque. Pauliana Viana, obviously really hot. She had that brutal knockout of Jin Yu Fry where she looked great hands, hit her with a left hook, and then I think a straight right and just made her stiff. But her game is also grappling. I think she has a couple armbar wins, but she also has some armbar losses. But I can't stop thinking about that media picture going around on Twitter of that mugger who tried to rob her or mug her, and she just beat the shit out of him. Guy was brutalized. Obviously, Jillian Roberson's a trained MMA fighter, so that's not going to happen to her. But I don't know. I feel like these odds should be closer. I think both women are grapplers. Both women can beat lower level competition but lose to higher level competition. So I don't really see too much difference in them. I know a lot of people are on Jillian Roberson. The Brian Peaches of the world, the MMA Hour. I think Connor Burks had Jillian Roberson, even had her at worse odds. I don't like the odds on Jillian Roberson. I don't. I've seen her get brutalized. I've seen her give up in fights. I think this should be closer to a pick'em fight, and I think there's a ton of good value on Pauliana Viana. So 100% take Pauliana Viana plus 235. I think that's a lock, honestly. I think that's one of the best values on the card right there. I think it should be a pick'em fight. Obviously, Jillian Roberson could win. Pauliana has been submitted in her UFC career. But at those odds, I'm taking Pauliana all day long. You want to make that money, boys? Lay the dough. Next fight, Serhii Siddi versus Roman Tavares. This is a rematch off Dana White's Contender Series. Serhii Siddi won the first fight, but it was an early stoppage. He hit Roman with, I think it was a straight right. Roman started, going like this. Not sure if he was playing possum or if he was actually hurt, but the ref stepped in prematurely. Dana was pissed about it. Gave the guy Siddi a UFC contract, made Roman fight another fight on Dana White's Contender Series. Roman won that fight, so he's running it back in the UFC. I like to see it. I like it. I think it's a close fight. I think the first fight was prematurely stopped. I know a lot of people are on Serhii Siddi. Obviously, he won the first fight. He's 10-1. I don't know. I'm not really too sure on these guys, honestly. I don't like the odds on Serhii Siddi. I think it's a close fight. The Roman guy has shown a lot of promise, especially in his second Dana White's Contender Series fight. So these odds, I would probably go Roman, but if it was a pick'em, I'd pick Serhii. So my official pick, I'm going Roman. So Pauliana, Viana, and Roman, underdogs parlay. It's pretty juicy. Something to look at. Next fight, Charles Jourdain versus Sean Weirdhead Bobblehead Woodson. Ooh, Sean Woodson. Weirdest body in the UFC. This guy. Whoa. Whoa. Not even sure how to describe him, but I can't get his fight with Luis Saldana out of my mind. I can't. Him getting dropped twice. Obviously, he came back in that fight and it was a draw, but Saldana's just an idiot. I think Jourdain is faster than Saldana. I think he's got crisper striking than Saldana. I think he's more of a dog than Saldana. He's not as stupid as Saldana. But it's a close fight. Sean Woodson's obviously a specialist when it comes to striking. He's not going to be looking for any takedowns. He's going to be, trying to use his range, keep Jourdain away with the jab, maybe hit him with some hooks when he comes in. I think Jourdain's going to try and slip, go to the body, then come up top, maybe hit a combo, like a slip, body, up top combo. And I think it's going to put Sean Woodson down. I got Charles Jourdain by KO in this fight. I don't think it goes the distance. I would take the under in this fight. I think that's a good pick. Yeah, I do. That's money, actually. Brad Katona. Can't remember if he's Canadian or Irish. I think he's both. Versus Garrett Armfield. Should be an okay fight. I think Katona wins with his grappling. I think both guys are pretty stout when it comes to stand-up. Obviously, Katona has had fights with higher-level opposition. He fought Merab Dvalishvili. He's fought, Cody Gibson. He's fought all those guys on Dana White's Contenders or on The Ultimate Fighter. Garrett Onfield looked amazing in his last fight. Never heard of him before his last fight with that Asian guy. Don't know the Asian guy's name. He looked amazing, though, but that Asian guy, I think he's been chinned in 3 of his last 4 fights. So when you think about level of competition, I know James Lynch loves that. Guys, you got to think about the level of competition these guys are fighting. You don't want to put too much stock. So I got Katona. I think he probably takes to the ground, makes a boring fight. Katona by decision is probably the play. I like that play. So that's what we're going to go with. On to the main card. Let's see what we got. Main card is decent. On paper, it's pretty weak, especially for a pay-per-view. I mean, you're having to pay for a Chris Curtis fight. You're having to pay for a Neil Magny fight. How many times have we seen those guys on fight nights? 1,000,000 times. But I do like the storylines going into the fight. So let's start it off with first fight of the main card, Arnold Allen versus Movsar Evloev. Learned how to say that on the Anakin Florian podcast. Evloev. Arnold Allen. This guy's kind of an enigma. He's shown so much promise. Doesn't fight too often. Fights like once a year. He's looked good against some high-level competition, like a Dan Hooker coming down in weight. But, where was Dan's chin at in that fight? Draining himself to get down to 145. Looked good in the fight against Max Holloway. I mean, it looked decent. Didn't take much damage. It's not like he was Calvin Kattar in there. Like, held his own. Might even won the 5th round. I'm not sure, though, because Max dropped him at the end of the 5th round, which many people don't really remember. But Movsar Evloev, not sure. I think this guy's a little overrated, to be honest. I mean, he fought Dan Ige, couldn't stop Dan Ige, which obviously Dan Ige is hard to stop. I don't think he's ever been stopped. But then he fought Diego Lopez. I was actually at that event, and nobody knew who the fuck Diego Lopez was. Justin Bieber haircut, facing off against this undefeated ranked guy, Movsar Evloev. Lopez, I mean, he was the star of the night that night. He got the crowd the most rowdy. Right after that fight, we had fucking Gilbert Burns, Bilal Muhammad. God, talk about walking melatonin. Gilbert Burns and Bilal Muhammad. That fight fucking blew. One of the worst fights I've seen in all of 2023, and I had to watch it live with my dad, who's not an MMA fan, and talk it up to him. Oh, no, this is a good fight, Dad. This is #1 contender. Gilbert Burns, he's a savage. He fought Hamzat Chimaev. He fought Kamaru Usman. Both entertaining scraps. Bilal Muhammad, he's a snooze fest, but, he had a TKO against Sean Brady. TKO, that was cool. He had a takedown fest against Vicente Luque. Held down Wonder Boy. This is going to be a good scrap, Dad. No, fucking sucked. Put us both to sleep. And then, unfortunately for us, we had to deal with Henry Cejudo and Aljamain Sterling in the main event. So, overall, that was an awful pay-per-view. But back to this fight. I don't know. I really don't know. Arnold Allen hasn't been taken down much in his UFC career, but he hasn't fought any wrestlers that have the credentials of Movsar. So I'm not entirely sure where his takedown defense is at this point. But at these odds, I don't know. The smart pick's Evloev, definitely. That's definitely the smart pick. He has more ways to winning. I see this being kind of a slow fight, a boring fight. Evloev probably getting a few takedowns, probably getting a minute of control. Arnold Allen fighting out of it, having a tough time at first, then eventually gets back to his feet after being controlled for a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Gets back on his feet, a 50-50 on the feet. Then it goes to the next round, kind of similar, 50-50 on the feet. Evloev gets a takedown, holds him down for a minute. It's not close to any submissions, not really landing much ground and pound, just kind of holds him down. Allen gets back up, maybe lands one big shot. The announcer's like, maybe he sold that round. And then inevitably, Evloev wins 30-27. I don't want to see it. I'm rooting for Arnold Allen. I like him. I think he's funny. At plus 150, if you have a little extra money, if you're winning on the prelims and you got some house money, sprinkle it on Arnold Allen. But the smart play is Evloev decision. Next fight, Chris Curtis versus Marc-Andre Barriault. This is going to be a scrap. These guys love to keep it on the feet. Great striking for both of them. Great cardio for both of them. I think it's a perfect stylistic matchup. I love this fight. I think it's going to be highly entertaining. Definitely a fight of the night candidate. Not a ton of stakes on it other than Marc-Andre is trying to get ranked. Chris Curtis is trying to keep his ranking so he can fight someone higher up the rankings and try to move, closer to the belt. Chris Curtis has had an interesting career. He's KO'd some high-level competition, has KO wins over Phil Halls. Who doesn't? But at the time, that was a good win. Has a KO win over Brendan Allen. That's aged pretty fucking well. Brendan Allen's ranked number 6 or something right now, so that's a big win. Has a KO win over Joaquin Buckley, who I think's a dog. I think Joaquin Buckley chins Marc-Andre Barriault. So I got Chris Curtis in this fight, definitely. I think he's a crisper boxer, better on the feet. Marc-Andre normally breaks guys with his cardio, with his gas tank. I don't think he's going to be able to break Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis is good with the dirty boxing. He's good in the clinch. Unless something crazy happens where there's another headbutt or Marc-Andre hits him with a nut shot that the ref doesn't see, and then just kind of, I don't know. The only way I see Marc-Andre winning this fight is holding him up against the fence, just with control and making it a boring fight, not trying to actually scrap. But I don't foresee that happening. I see both guys bleeding in this fight. Might be a 1-round fight, might be a 2-round fight. I got Chris Curtis by KO. Yeah, I think that's definitely what's going to happen. So lay your money on Curtis by KO and the under. I like the under in that fight as well. Next fight, Neil Magny versus Mike Malott. Mike Malott, the boys are hot. Always bet Mike Malott.
About tonight.
Always. This is for us, Canada. Get the fucking maple syrup out. Hockey. You know what I'm saying? Turkey bacon. It's for us. Maple Leafs. Woo, I got to calm down. Mike Malott, the boys are hot. That's what we were yelling at the last fight when he fought on the Vancouver card. Mike Malott dominated his last opponent, and he's going up against Neil Magny. Neil Magny's accustomed to a lot of things, but is he accustomed to winning on the big stage? I don't think so. I think Neil Magny's done, honestly. He's getting up there in age. He's never had knockout power. So how can Neil Magny win this fight? Is he going to KO Mike Malott? No, he's not. He's not quick enough. He's not strong enough. Has no KO power. It's not possible. Is he going to submit Mike Malott? No, absolutely not. Mike Malott's a wizard on the ground, younger, like I said, stronger. His only hope is by decision, pushing him against the fence, doing his classic clinch work like he did against Phil Rowe, which, Neil Magny versus Phil Rowe, I gave that fight the snoozer of the year. That was one of my year-end awards, snoozer of the year. And, yeah, Neil Magny, Phil Rowe won snoozer of the year, so congrats to those guys. I got to ship out the trophies for them. So yeah, I got Mike Malott in this one, and I got him by stoppage. I know Neil Magny's tough to stop, but if Gilbert Burns can get him down in an arm triangle within 1 round, I think Mike Malott can do it. Definitely. So lay the dough, Mike Malott by submission. But if you're not having a great night, maybe just take a money line, win a little bit of that bread back.
About tonight.
Because this card's for fucking Canada. Yeah, I'm gonna have 12 bottles of maple syrup lined up on my TV stand for this one. Oh, baby, Mike Malott. Yes, sir. Next fight. Raquel Pennington versus Myra Bueno Silva. So I am officially a Myra Bueno Silva fan. Write it down. Take a picture. I am a fan of Myra Bueno Silva. I think she has the potential to be the next big women's star. Honestly, I do. 100% do. I liked her before the press conference. Sorry, my stuff's here is a little messed up, but I liked her before the press conference. I thought she had some personality. The way she was going at Juliana Pena was very entertaining. Her last fight against Holly Holm, she spared us of having to see a Holly Holm 5-round snoozer like she had against Caitlin Vieira. So just for sparing us from having to watch too much of that Holly Holm main event and stopping it early with that mean guillotine. Maybe it was a ninja choke. I got to go back and watch it, but I know she stopped her. I don't care about the Adderall. I don't give a fucking bullocks about the Adderall. Take all the Adderall you want. Smoke all the pot you want. Holly Holm, if she would have been hopped up on Adderall, could have gave her crack, could have gave her meth, Holly Holm still wouldn't have won that fight. Bueno Silva, too strong, too good at jiu-jitsu. And she's got a great personality. I like her a lot. Her accent's funny as fuck.
I finish watch one fight.
Everybody sleep. Everybody sleep.
Everybody sleep.
You
Don't
spend
sleep.
so much time.
Everybody
You
sleep.
spend so much time, but guess what? My fists are gonna do
You don't pack a
Saturday.
level.
You're not the level.
level.
Yeah. Raquel Pennington, her last 4 fights have all been stinkers, snoozers, sleepers, walking melatonin. I mean, she doesn't do shit. I don't even know how she's been winning those fights. I guess on output, she has a good chin. She didn't get dropped in any of her last fights, really. Decent output. I don't know. How's she going to win this fight? Is she going to sub her? No. Is she going to KO her? No. Is she going to go all 5 rounds and decision her? I don't see it. I would lay the dough on Bueno Silva by submission. I got the under in this fight as well. Yeah, Rocky Pennington, I'm sorry. Your time's over. You're old now. Your last 4 fights have been stinkers. Not sure how you're getting this opportunity, but Mayra Bueno Silva's the next big star. I think she wins this fight. She has a blood feud with Juliana Pena, which I think will be very entertaining. Both girls are good trash talkers. Both have annoying voices, but yeah. And she's low-key, kind of cute, Bueno Silva, in a weird way. She's also ugly at the same time, so I can't really – it's kind of a weird, ugly but also cute at the same time. I don't know. Her nose is a little weird, but whatever. Bueno Silva, submission. Next fight, we got the main event. Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis. I already touched on this fight a little bit in my last video. I'll just cut right to the chase.
Bro, you think your dad beat the shit out of you? Your dad doesn't have shit on me. I'm going to show you what it's like to beat you.
Oh, Dricus is in this man's head. He's already beaten this man. Sean Strickland is broken. He's broken. Strickland went on 3 different podcasts and cried his eyes out. DM'd Dricus not to say mean things about his childhood. And, hey, I'm sorry, man. I won't say anything about your coach if you don't talk about this. And at the press conference, didn't say one mean thing about Dricus. Actually did the opposite, was talking Dricus up. This man is a warrior. We are going to go to war Saturday night. It's a death match. Dricus comes to fight. Don't boo this man. Hey, nobody in the crowd, do not boo this man. This guy's a warrior. He's so scared of Dricus. Dricus is something, man. He's a smart guy. He is a very smart guy with his trash talk, the way he conducts himself. On the scales today, Dricus was full of energy. I just can't see Strickland winning this fight. Let's go over it. I guess he could TKO Dricus in the later rounds if Dricus starts to get gassed, and he's not going to sub him. So it's either TKO, late TKO for Strickland, or decision. But I got Dricus du Plessis in this fight. I do. I liked him when he was plus 100. Obviously, people are laying the dough on Dricus because now he's minus 102. But I really like Dricus in this fight. He's one of my parlay pieces. I just think he's stronger than Strickland. I think he's more brutal than Strickland. I think his shots are more powerful. Strickland's more of a touch, guard, defend, touch. Dricus is more of the fucking bah, da. You know what I'm saying? Like he did against Whitaker. Bah, hard jab, drops him. Boom, to the body. You're done. Not this patter, pit, patter. Oh, I got a good gas tank. So Dricus is going to come at him, ready for a war. Doesn't care if he bleeds. I see both guys getting bloodied in this fight. I see it going a little bit later. I think late 4th round is my prediction. I'm going Dricus du Plessis, TKO, late 4th round, body shots up against the fence. Strickland's nose is bleeding. Maybe his ears bleeding. He just can't take the pain of Dricus's power. Strickland crumbles up, and Dricus wins the belt. That's what I see happening. And then I see Izzy getting into the ring and setting up Dricus versus Izzy for UFC 300. Write it down. Take a picture. Octagon Jordan, bringing you the best picks, the best predictions. And I got something else for you guys as well. It's all about the Packers this weekend. My Packers are going to dominate the 49ers. If you want another sleeper pick, Packers over the 49ers, plus 360. Parlay with Dricus. Parlay with Bueno Silva. Let's have a big weekend, boys. Let's have a big fucking weekend. See you sick bastards on Sunday. Hopefully I'm in a good mood. Hopefully all these picks hit. Let's see what happens.